He thought it was over.
Thought it was over.
He thought we were up one.
George shot the free throw. I got the rebound. We were tied ball game. We had a timeout, and I was trying to get enough space because obviously KD is standing right there. Trying to get enough space to bring it out to maybe get a shot off, and then I looked over at LeBron. He looked like he was trying to call timeout, so I just stopped, and then the game was over.
You knew you were tied. You didn't think you were leading.
No, I seen it. I knew we were tied. It's just I thought we was going to call timeout because I got the rebound. I'm pretty sure everybody didn't think I was going to shoot over KD.
You have to ask him.
Well, the reason I ask you is because he was in there saying that I knew it was tied, and I was. So I'm just wondering, knowing it was tied, how would you now observe what you saw in that situation?
I don't know.
I guess that further goes along with my theory. I thought he was looking for LeBron. I would have looked for LeBron, too.
Yeah. Did he think that the game was tied, or did he think that you guys had it salted away?
How do I know that?
Or did you discuss it at all with him at the end of the play?
No. They asked me if I talked to JR about it. I said no already. I knew it was a tie game. We was down one. George Hill went up. He made the first one. We got the offensive rebound. You know, I thought we were all aware of what was going on. That's my view. So I don't know what JR was thinking. I don't know the question you're trying to ask.
I was just trying to see if you knew exactly what his state of mind was. Did he think that you guys had it won, or did he think he was trying to make a play? Not sure.
What do you mean I'm not sure? No, I don't know his state of mind.
Did you know if he knew the score? Thank you.
It's such a, for lack of a better term, too bad that the game the end of regulation came down to that, because the Cavs really did have a chance to win it, and that clouds what could have been a fairly competitive game. CC, I'll start with you. What was your reaction to the end of game one?
It's not the way you want to see a game like this. You're talking about a championship atmosphere, game number one. These teams facing each other for the fourth time, the second year with Kevin Durant and LeBron. I've traveled around, been very fortunate. I've seen a lot of basketball. My brother played in the NBA with the Lakers and a number of other teams, and traveling around with Michael Jordan and Ron Harper and the Bulls. I've been to a lot of NBA finals. Like, I've seen a lot of great basketball. I'm talking about pressurized situations. I've never quite seen one end like this. A good friend of mine, Isaiah Thomas, we know about him in the Boston Garden throwing away the ball up under the bucket. We know about Magic Johnson in the Boston Garden. So there have been players that have done things similar to this. But I've never seen anything like this. As simple as the game's tied, your guy's shooting a free throw. You know you're trying to get the rebound. The reason why JR is there is not there for the rebound. It's there. If he makes it, and they're up by one, he's going to pressure the backcourt.
Yeah.
That's the reason why he's there. So now the ball is short, and people won't even think about this. Kevin Durant didn't box him out. That's how he got the rebound.
I mean, it's just Kevin Durant gets bullied by a guy 7 inches shorter than him.
You know, so that right there is not the way you expect a game like this. And it seems like all the air and all the hope came out of the Cavs. They didn't play the way they did in overtime, the way they had played the previous 4 quarters. And the Cavs deserved to win this game. They played well enough to win this game. And what LeBron James did, to have one of your teammates, and I love team sports, but also I hate team sports, because you got to rely on people to make sure that they know the same situation. It's tragic. It's tragic. And if they had any hope, you can't give away a game. It's the most lopsided final since the 91 Iverson, right?
And you were right there.
01, yeah, 01, yes. And you can't win a series giving away a game, especially when they have home court advantage and the talent, the difference between the talent between the two.
If you thought the Cavs were going to have a shot in this series, any 50-50 game had to go their way. If you thought, just like with Houston. With Houston, there was a 50-50 game in Game 4 against Golden State. They won it. 50-50 game in Game 5 against Golden State. They won it. It's like, oh, now you have a chance. Houston's way more talented than Cleveland and had home court. All right, so I understand there were other things leading up to this. There was an egregious call by a referee, or an egregious overturn by a referee. We'll get to it. There was Kevin Love fouling Steph Curry on an and one when you're up 2, which you just can't do. There's George Hill simply missing the shot. But to quote Jeff Van Gundy, dumb will get you beat. And as much as I personally like JR, as a basketball player, he plays dumb. And guess what? It was going to be hard for JR to trump what he did at the end of the first half from a basketball IQ perspective. You remember that play?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Tries to come in the back door with Steph Curry on a half-court pass. There's less than 2 seconds to go.
Even if you steal that ball, it does you no good. All you have to do is stay in front of Steph. He goes for a steal. Steph hits a 32-footer to tie the game at halftime. This is to not know the score in the waning seconds of an NBA Finals game is a sports crime. Like you can make physical errors. You can make mental errors. You can make clutch situation errors. You can make fatigue errors. But I don't consider this a mental error. I consider this an all-time gaffe. A mental error is not realizing, oh, the 8-second clock's winding down. I got to hurry up and get it across half court. To not know.
Yeah, I think you can put them all in the same family.
Sure.
When you screw up like this, when you're not knowing, when you're 14 years into the league, you've been a starter for pretty much your whole career, 4 straight final with LeBron. How can you not know? Like, how can you not call a timeout? He's talking about, I was waiting on my teammates to call a timeout. If you knew there was a timeout, you should have called it as soon as you rebounded it.
He didn't. But for people that don't know, set the stage just a little bit. Give people an idea, because it did end late last night. Well, what happened at the end of the game?
The Cavs were down 1. LeBron finds George Hill, and this is the other sports tragedy part of it. You said it's tragic. LeBron does something that, in my estimation, LeBron's the only superstar in the history of the league that in this situation would have made that play. Maybe Magic, but Magic wouldn't have been in the situation to have 49 points. LeBron is playing as good of a game as he's ever played, on as good of a run as he's ever had. They have the ball down 1 with less than 10 seconds remaining. And LeBron sees a cutting George Hill and says, you know what? I trust my teammates. Fires a pass into him. It would have been a layup. Klay Thompson does the only thing he can do, because Klay's playing on one leg, basically. Played well, by the way. Grabs him. So George Hill goes to the line. That's the thing that's so crazy. For JR to say, I thought we had the lead, and he can say what he wants after the game, but he mouthed to LeBron, I thought we were ahead. That would mean he thought the game was tied going into the final possession, because he saw George Hill make the free throw. So LeBron trusts George Hill. Says, you know what, I could go for my first career 50-point playoff game. I could go for my 3rd game winner of these playoffs. I'm going to trust George Hill. He finds him, makes the right play. George Hill makes the first, misses the second, and it leads to that.
Yeah, and it wasn't after seeing George Hill play a brilliant game. So to have that type of faith in a player who was subpar, now that's LeBron James, and you have to be able to give him credit. People won't, because there's other things that they'll try to talk about. But that was a great observation by you, because they had 4 other people in the lane. He would have had to force up a bad shot. He got a better shot for his teammate, didn't convert to a win.
How deflating was that, and did that lead to basically the Warriors waking up and saying, oh, hold on, let's just win this right now, and then going off on a stretch in the
No, the Warriors made shots in overtime.
Right.
It's hard as a team, especially when you're on the road. The theory is, when you're on the road, do you go for the tie or go for the win? When you're on the road, you go for the win. Because they have the home crowd, you go for the win. So that's what the Cavs were trying to do. And when you go to overtime, when you know it wasn't something that the Warriors did, and it's self-inflicted, it's hard for a team to recover. And when you talk about the biggest, in the last 20 years, this is the biggest discrepancy that we've seen as far as an underdog, and you give away game number 1 on the road, it becomes hard mentally for a team to be able to recover from that. I'm very interested to see how they do this weekend, as far as a team, what comes out of the conversation. Does JR finally admit that he did it? Because that's criminal too, sitting there just lying after the press conference.
And saying, I thought LeBron was going to call timeout, almost putting the blame on the guy who had carried you guys here. And the other thing that happened in overtime is this. We have seen LeBron in year 15. He has learned how to budget his energy, to where he has something left for the end of fourth quarters. Something he didn't always do. Sometimes he would exert himself earlier in his career in the first three quarters and break down at the end of games. LeBron didn't budget his energy for an overtime. And in overtime, he wasn't able to carry them the way he had in those four quarters. And it was just such a deflating era.
All right, so the Warriors escape with a 124-114 overtime win at Oracle. We'll talk so much more about this coming up. But on the other side, can this series be closer than we thought?